So thank you very much for inviting me. So my name is Ralph Broad, Director of Inclusive Neighbourhoods. We're a very small organisation that's working with a number of local authority and health partners and PCT around the development of local area coordination as part of supporting reform of services, but more importantly strengthening communities and helping to keep vulnerable people strong and reduce the need for services wherever possible. So rebalancing the service so that the focus is more on staying strong with very, very strong services as a backup, which is the reform part. So local area coordination is a unique approach which started in Western Australia way back in 1988, showing my age because I was there before, during and after that process. And it's about supporting people who either have a service label or who are vulnerable or who are isolated or excluded due to learning disability, mental health needs, age, frailty, or other service type labels that we've placed on people. And it's very much around trying to help to simplify the service system as well, because that's something that families have reported for many years is actually part of the problem. The complexity of services can make life more difficult or add to some of the difficulties that people face. So part of that then is it's a cradle to grave service, so it's from zero to end of life and working in a variety of ways. So it's partly around supporting people and their families to build their vision for a good life and find practical ways of getting there. It's also partly around strengthening communities to make them more welcoming, inclusive and supportive of people with disabilities and other people. And then there's the last bit around reforming services or helping services become more personal, more flexible, more accountable and more efficient given the financial circumstances we're in. The efficient bit is not our starting point. Our starting point is around people, families and communities and a good life. Good practice leads to efficiency. I suppose that's one of the payoffs. So I suppose one of the starting points is rather than waiting for people to fall into crisis and then land on your doorstep unannounced and trying to find their way through under really difficult circumstances, we're thinking, well, let's start earlier, take time to get to know people well, help them to build their vision, and then through a whole range of approaches, finding different ways of getting there which will help them to stay stronger for longer. Sounds a bit cheesy, but that's actually part of it. How can we help people to stay strong? That's not saying that services aren't important, because services are really, really vital for some people. It's just about getting it in the right place. When services come in a bit too quick, sometimes all the natural community stuff disappears. We've been talking a lot recently in a place not far from here around sometimes services can be an obstacle to inclusion. As soon as for many people they've reported that as soon as they've received a service, they're marked out as being special in the community, and therefore community. We don't need community because we've got something special wrapped around us. So it's how can we start to rethink and reshape that way of working. So with that, local area coordination becomes the new front end of the service system. So again, rather than services being up there and assessment and finding out what you can't do and thinking about what services or money you might need, we're pushing that back intentionally and starting the conversation a bit earlier around the good vision, the good life, the relationships, the contribution, being part of my community, accessing a school that's meaningful and valued for me, all of that type of stuff, and building a positive vision for the future. So that's the new front end, and local area coordination is a single local accessible point of contact to make that happen. Embedded in the community in a really accessible way, so not in a building like this where we are, not in a social work office or a health office or a PCT, but somewhere that people are very comfortable accessing. Equally, the local area coordinator needs to get out in the real world as well. So it's not just about they have to come to whatever we're calling an office that's accessible, but finding where people feel most comfortable to meet and to build a relationship and to share and explore and to get out of their comfort zone to think about life in general.